Called to order, the regular meeting of the Clarkston Board of Education. If you would all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is roll call. Welcome back, Mrs. McLean. Good to see you.
Thank you.
And if you could please call the roll.
Mrs. Egan.
Here.
Mrs. McGinnis.
Here.
Mr. Heyer.
Here.
Mrs. Love.
Here.
Mrs. Crane. Mrs. Cybers.
Here.
Mr. Neat.
Here. We have a quorum. We'll proceed. Mrs. Crane apologizes. She had a death in the family a couple of days ago, and she is unable to join us tonight, and our thoughts are with her. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public hearing. There is a time for public participation during the meeting under agenda items 3 and 9. Item 2 is approval of the consent agenda. May I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Made and supported. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item 3 is citizens' request to address the board. You are given 2 opportunities to address the board. Under this item, item 3.1, you can request to address the board on any topic on tonight's agenda. And under item 9, you are welcome to address the board on any topic. When making comments, please state your name and address. Direct your comments here to the board president. Each person may speak for up to 2 minutes, and per established board procedures, the board will not respond to questions or interact with the speaker during public comments, although we may follow up thereafter. Could somebody check the, okay. Thank you, Mrs. Mahoney. There's no one that has requested to address the board on an agenda topic, and again, you'll have another opportunity under item 9 to address the board on any topic. Item 4 is our superintendent update. Dr. Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Dean. I'd like to join with the board to also welcome back Ms. McLean. We missed you, and we're so glad to see you on the mend and bring you back to full here at Clarkston Schools. And very happy to see you here this evening. This evening, we have a presentation from Kristen Locke and Sheridan Crane with some of our students as part of the Battle of the Books, and it's nice to see you guys give a wave over there. They say our meetings are bananas, or used to be. Glad to see this is the only kind of bananas that we have now, so welcome, guys. We appreciate you being here tonight. I have a couple updates, both in terms of celebrations. This past week, our boys and girls basketball teams made it up through the districts. Unfortunately, that's kind of where they stopped, but they had a heck of a season, and I applaud all their efforts. And also wanted to recognize our hockey team, which this year, first time in many, many years, made it to the Final Four in the state of Michigan. They had a wonderful season, and finally lost a tough game, kind of ending the season that was kind of a dream season. I also want to be able to do a shout out to one of our swimmers, Clarkston Junior High student John George, who made it to the States. And in a lot of different sports, our kids really showed not only excellence, but great sportsmanship, and I'm really proud to see how they were able to finish their seasons. It's hard to believe, you look out the weather here, that spring is kind of hopefully here to stay. This week things are warming up, and our spring teams are starting their first practices in tennis and track and all of our spring teams. So I'm excited to kind of get that on. It kind of shows we're moving through the year. Other pieces I'd like to recognize this evening are on March 19th, we're going to have our Japanese sister school, whether you're aware of it or not. Chibi Higashi High School in Japan is the sister school to Clarkston Schools and Clarkston High School. They're going to be doing a visit, and I get to meet with their headmaster. And they have kind of an interesting role for their superintendents. They roll them with their teaching staff and their other administrators. Everybody does a job for a period of time and changes over. So it's kind of a novel way of doing things. There's always something to learn from the way people do it differently. So throw that out there. Hopefully it's a suggestion that we don't want to take with the Board of Education from Japan, but we're excited about their visit. Lastly tonight, I wanted to be able to talk to our community directly on the notion and idea of school safety, and something that's always on the forefront of our minds, both as administrators and staff and board at Clarkston Community Schools. Right now, we're in the middle of having secure education consultants, a company that specializes in looking at how schools, what they do to prepare, and both in the facility ways and in their preparation with everything that they have with their staff and students for any type of challenge or crisis that might appear. And we're looking very much forward to their feedback. We want to continue to have that mindset of approval and be able to work together collaboratively with law enforcement to make sure that we have the best in Clarkston when it comes to school safety. On that topic, I want to look at current events and go a little bit on the edge of the superintendent and kind of my political role, and looking at the news and seeing what's going on in Oakland County with respect to the trials that occurred with parents and the relationship between school safety and gun violence. I wanted to put it out there to our community from your superintendent that when I think of school safety, I think it's a team effort. And when I look at what we need to do to be as safe as we possibly can, it takes more than a consultant firm coming in or having the best practices. It takes all of us. We're a team to keep our community and our kids safe. And when I say that, it means that we all have a responsibility, whether it comes to safe storage of our firearms, to making sure that if we see something that's not quite right, we're reporting it. Call me, call our law enforcement, call the schools. We have an entire staff that's ready and willing to listen, and we want to partner with our community at every avenue. To me, peace of mind doesn't come from necessarily just from locked doors and good protocols. It comes from a sense that we're all working together to make sure that on an everyday basis, every minute basis, that we're doing absolutely everything we can to make sure our children are safe. And both as a father and your superintendent, I'm asking everyone to kind of look at your practice, your lives, your household, and look at what you might be able to do to kind of help us all be a little safer. Because you can have my commitment as a father and as a superintendent that I'm going to do absolutely everything to make sure that peace of mind that we have in our community and our schools, but I need your help. So this evening, as you go about your lives, and we look at safety as something hopefully that we never have to overly dwell on, but it's something that always has to be the first thing in our priorities that we provide for our students and our community. So I thank you for your little listening to my little extra statement or thought process tonight that I felt the need to share. But I do appreciate everything we've done so far, and I really look forward in the future to us continuing to do the best by our schools, our kids, and our community. So, thank you, Mr. Mead.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ryan. And I know the entire board is certainly committed to making sure Clarkston schools have a safe learning environment for all of our kids and all of our staff. We have 3 presentation items tonight. Item 5.1 is the Battle of the Books recognition, as we see out in the audience. Dr. Ryan, you want to introduce this?
Yeah, we have Sharon Crane and Kristen Locke, and I'll also put up Ms. Nancy Mahoney as our Director of Instruction Services.
I just wanted to get in front of these wonderful leaders. When we think about the excitement of children reading, I think that's something super special and something we desire in our kids. And so Battle of the Books has been going on for many years, but I feel like the battle is stronger than ever now. I just had a mom whisper to me and say, Nancy, last year we lost by 1 point. So I said, you're coming back for revenge this year. So the battle is strong, and I think it's just super exciting. So this is for our 4th and 5th graders. Kristen Locke leads the battle for the middle school, and so this is a piece to celebrate and also to inform the wonderful work around literacy. So welcome, ladies.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having both of us here. We're so proud to be here to highlight a program that has such a profound impact on our students. So we thank you for the time this evening. I'm the Elementary Battle of the Books coordinator, and it is my pleasure an honor and privilege, honestly, to be the coordinator. We have a tremendous amount of support for this program. These are the 7 books we use this year for the Battle of Books at elementary level. It's a committee that we put together. It is the public librarians from the CIDL and Springfield Township Library, and myself, that's the Battle Committee. We're the ones that decide which books are going to be used, the ones that write the questions for the battles that the students are in. It is a 3-month program, so our students and our parents are part of a 3-month commitment. And what they do is they read these wonderful books, the 7 books that we choose for the year. Its participation is based on all 7 elementaries. This year we did not have a Clarkston virtual team. 941 students were eligible for this year's battle, and 55% of them participated 4th and 5th across those 7 buildings. We had a record-setting year. We had 120 teams, 519 students, and 176 coaches. So that was huge. We've not had those kind of numbers before. So super excited about those kind of numbers. 7 books. Teams are consistent of 3 to 5 students, minimum 1 coach per team. Our team that's here with us tonight, there are 4 coaches for that particular team. So sometimes they work together to do that. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 2. They get voted on for best team costume, best team name, and then at the district battle, there's a 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place winning team. I held 18 battles this year. So I start with 7 mock battles, or 10 mock battles is what I actually had this year. And then we go on to the district, or the building level. So the top 2 finishing teams, 1st and 2nd place, are the teams that advance to the district championship. And then we just finished a week ago tonight for the district championship. Our community outreach piece consists of working with the Friends of the Library from both CIDL and Springfield Township Library. Inscribed Books gave us a prize for our 1st place winners at the building level, so they offered each of the students a 20% discount on one item, so that was given to them. The union provides a free ice cream coupon for the winners at the district level, so we try to reach out to local communities. We used 2nd and Charles this year to buy gift certificates for students to be able to go buy books at 2nd and Charles. The Fighting Bananas, who we have here this evening, are the 1st place champions for this year for the 2024 season. And you can see some of the cute costumes. Bananas was the rage this year. I think we had 2 to 3 banana teams at each elementary building. For whatever reason, the bananas were the go-to costumes this year. 2nd place was Book Bananas from Clarkston Elementary. 3rd place were the meter readers from Independence Elementary. Our Bob's, Battle of the Books, so we had Bob Marley, Bob Ross, Bob the Builder, and SpongeBob. They won the team costume. And then we had fabulously famous women from Springfield Elementary, and they won for best team name. Here are some more costumes. The rest of the pictures are from the other teams that went to the district finals last week. So we have our Secret Life of Books from Bailey Lake, the Athletic Scholars from Springfield, Book Bunnies from Clarkston, the Beachside Readers from Andersonville, Banana Books from North Sash. That was our 3rd banana team for the district championship. Sponge Book Square Page from Bailey Lake. Cheerleaders Chapter 2 from Pine Knob, the Clever Candies from North Sash, and last but not least, All-Star Bookleets from Pine Knob Elementary. The costumes this year were just all the rage. They were just amazing. I couldn't tell you how creative some of these teams. This is just a glimpse. This is only 14 teams out of 120 that all dressed up. The impact of this program is amazing. From a teacher perspective, from a student perspective, and from a parent perspective. One Clarkston teacher wrote to me last week, the kids had such a wonderful time participating this year. They were talking in class today about how sad they were that it is over. From a parent who's been a battle coach for 3 years and a Clarkston parent, she said this program is so impactful to students. As a direct result of their battle participation, my niece made the leap to reading chapter books on her own, and my son started reading before bed every single night. That's the legacy that we hope for. We hope that they walk away as readers, and not just for a battle program, but that it continues, and that it'll be generational. So that is our hope as coordinators, is that it's just a launching pad for some students who aren't really big readers, or it's a major launching pad for those kids who are strong readers but just continue to get even stronger. So that's our legacy. That's what we hope that this program provides.
Good evening. I'm Kristen Locke. I am the secondary media specialist for Clarkston Schools, and I host a battle for our middle school students at Sashaba Middle School. For all 6th and 7th graders are more than welcome to come and join our Battle of the Books. My committee is myself and the teen librarian from the Clarkston Independence District Library. We choose the books, we write the questions, and we do all the planning for our Battle of the Books. This is the 9th year for the middle school Battle of the Books. Elementary was started way before that. We're very fortunate that we've been able to continue this for 9 years. My program is a 4-month program. We introduce it to the students just after Thanksgiving, so they have all of December, January, February, and then late in March, we have our battle. This year, we have 10 teams with 46 students participating. Students come to middle school, and they have all kinds of other opportunities to them, and they get busy with other things, and as much as we promote the battle, what we end up getting are students who love to read, they love to compete, they love books, and we're so happy that we have those students and that we can provide this event for them. So we're happy to continue the battle, just at a little bit of a smaller rate than 100 and how many teams? 120 teams. These were the books that we chose this year for our middle school battle. We always choose a graphic novel and a nonfiction book. And then this year we also have a fantasy, The Ogress and the Orphans. We have a science fiction, historical fiction, mystery, and realistic fiction. So a little something for everyone to make sure that we cover everybody's interests. So those were our books. When selecting the books, we always look at reviews. They all have more than one professional review that is positive, and they're always age appropriate for our middle schoolers. So our teams consist of 2 to 6 students, the same minimum of 1 coach per team, an adult, a parent, a neighbor, a grandparent. We award prizes for team name and team costume, and then the Clarkston Independence District Library wanted to add in a poster making event. So it was just yesterday they hosted a poster making event for our middle schoolers. They provide all the materials, and it's just something for them to show their team name, show who's on their team, and then we have that at their station when we actually conduct the battle. Our battle is next week, so I don't have a winning team. I don't have all the pictures yet to show you, but it's next Wednesday, March 20th at 8 a.m. in our Learning Commons at the middle school. You're welcome to stop by and attend and see how it all plays out. The Friends of the CIDL help us with purchasing some books that they have available for students there to check out, and then they purchase the prizes for our students. So we're extremely grateful for their support and their help with our middle school battle. I did have 2 pictures from 2 years ago. Winning team named Me, My Shelf, and I. They did such a great job. They had a costume that was the bookshelf, and everybody was dressed up as something that you would find on a bookshelf. And then our 4 Musketeers were the winning team that year. But just like Sharon said, it's just a wonderful program. The parents that help us out, the children that participate, and the support that we receive from local businesses and libraries is fantastic. So, thank you. Any questions?
Is there a way that we could have the kiddos come up and just give a couple quick words on what they like most about the program? I always like to hear it right from their experience, which...
Absolutely. So I'd like to introduce you to the Fighting Bananas from Independence Elementary. So come on down, boys. Say your name.
My name is Will. My name is Grant. Hello, my name is Gabe. My name is Ronnie.
So Dr. Wright has a question. What do you think about the program and what can you say about
think it's like really good for like education and stuff, and it was really fun just to like hang out with your friends and read the books.
Yeah, real loud. Can you speak up just a little bit?
I think it's really good because like it encourages kids to read and makes it a lot fun, or it makes it really fun for them. I think it's really good because it can like help kids who like to compete in something that isn't just a sport, and it helps kids like read more.
Very cool.
I think it's good because some kids that don't like to read, they could be encouraged to read because it's fun.
I'm going to go off what Grant said. I'm going to go a little bit off of what Grant said. It encourages kids to read in a competitive way. So they'll like study the books hard and like read them over and over.
Those kids.
Oh, absolutely.
On behalf of all of us from Gallup Books, congratulations. You guys were amazing. So proud of you, your hard work, your teamwork. One of the things we talk about is sportsmanship and how important that kindness and respect kind of prevail over the right answers when we work collaboratively together, right? That was a big piece that we talked about. So congratulations to the Fighting Bananas. This is kind of like the Stanley Cup. So guess what, Mr. Fuller? Mr. Fuller is going to let you take this home for 1 week. And then it goes to the second person for a week. And then the next person for a week. And oh my goodness, it goes to your place for a week. And then it's going to go to your place for a week. So we are going to start with you. Right? So congratulations. And the Board of Education would like to say congratulate you as well. Do
You want a fist bump?
Should we fist bump?
Great job. Good job. Excellent. So proud of you. Yes, nice job.
Great work.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Well, this is just such an awesome program. Anything that we can do to, promote kids to read is just excellent. So thanks to you guys for coordinating this. Thanks to all of the parent coaches. Congratulations again to the Fighting Bananas. Good job. And, I think it's just a great program all around. So thank you very much for sharing that with us tonight.
So our next presentation is about secondary career readiness, and as you know, one of our pillars of excellence with our strategic plan focuses on career readiness and awareness. And so we've invited the team to come forward just to share what's been happening this year to really, I think, celebrate the work that's been done in that pillar. So Sheila and your team, welcome to the stage.
And all of you are welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but if you would like to step out, we certainly understand. So.
It's tough to compete with bananas.
Fighting Bananas.
I know. It's awesome.
Good evening. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity to share some of our career readiness successes this year. We have an amazingly successful team in front of you that have exceeded all of the Oakland schools' targets for this year and even gone beyond to meet the needs of our students. I am Sheila Witkowski, the Career Readiness Coordinator. I also work with Justin Fittenevel, the Clarkston High School counselor. He is not here tonight due to the birth of his beautiful baby girl, so we're all very happy for Justin. We work with Oakland Schools. We have a career readiness consultant with them, and that person and I work very closely to ensure grant compliance. We obtain an annual grant of $135,100. We need to gather student survey feedback. We track and log data and evidence of the types of activities that we are engaged in, and they provide funds to help support those efforts. And tonight you'll hear how this amazing team achieves those successes. Some of the aspects of our career readiness grant, including identifying 5 in-demand industries as defined by Oakland Schools, EDP activities, Pathful Connect, and career exposure at all buildings. And I'll further explain what some of those terms mean as we get to them. At Clarkston High School, I'm responsible for the career readiness events. We have communication in many ways to make sure everyone is aware of what we're doing. Some of our communication efforts include morning announcements, display boards in the main hallway that will have job search tips, upcoming events, current job openings. We have Wolf Time video announcements. We have in-demand industry posters that we place around the building and flyers specific to our events. One of our main objectives is completing an educational development plan with every student. This is a Michigan Department of Education requirement for every student in grades 6 through 12 using the Zello platform. EDPs are designed to provide students with critical knowledge and skills needed to make successful career decisions and foster their lifelong learning. And as you can see up there, we have already completed 97% of our students, which is 1,410 EDPs, and we still have an additional 40 or so to go. Teachers originally completed as many EDPs as they could with students during Wolf Time, and I've been working with students outside of Wolf Time to get the remainder completed. For our career readiness events, that's any event that exposes a student to some career-related path so that they have exposure to opportunities and begin planning for their own careers in the future. As you can see, we have a variety of events. We have already completed 50. Oakland Schools asks 10 of us, so again, we have exceeded our requirements. We had National Career Development Month in November, which was 5 full weeks of activities every single day during the month. We have guest speakers, Pathful videos, careers contests, field trips, no degree required event, pathways to apprenticeship, and military visits, which is featured in that picture. These students were very eager to come and engage with, this happened to be the U.S. Coast Guard, and show off their push-up skills. So it's great to see how eager they are to interact. For National Career Development Month, we did career-related activities, as I said, every single day. We engaged with guest speakers, Pathful videos. We completed the EDPs during the 2 Wolf Times offered during November. And our principal, Gary Call, is amazing. He agreed to dress up in costume for each of the 5 in-demand industries as we have featured in this picture. And he circulated through all of the lunch periods and talked to students and engaged in conversations about those careers. Here he is a welder. Another program we offered this year is No Degree Required, which was a collaboration between Clarkston High School, Renaissance High School, and Clarkston Junior High School. You can see the list of organizations that attended. All of these organizations talked about career paths that do not require a college degree. Even though we have 2 colleges listed there, they came and presented skills certificate opportunities, 6 months to 2 years, but they were not associate or bachelor degree driven. The presenters praised this event. They really enjoyed being there and networking with each other. They have gone out in the community and attended events at other school districts, and they've praised Clarkston Community Schools. They're very happy with the event that we offered, and I've had 2 districts reach out to me and ask about the concept and the logistics so that they can offer it again next year. So it was very well received. One thing we did with the students and the staff at the high school is we offered the My First Job Was flyers. This was an effort with all members of staff, and they could print out a flyer exclaiming what their first job was. Many of us obtained our first job during high school age, and it was a way to start a conversation with students talking about careers, what we did, and what they might be interested in doing. Bet you can't guess what Dr. Ryan did for his first job.
Bet they can.
We still have many more programs and events, even though we have exceeded our target goals. We are always trying to address our students' needs and expose them to as many career opportunities as possible. Some of our upcoming events are Real Career Curriculum, which again is a collaboration between Clarkston High School and Renaissance High School. Clarkston Foundation awarded a grant for the purchase of 2 Real Career Employability Soft Skills curriculum kits that will be used for seniors at Renaissance and LRC support student seniors at Clarkston High School. We also have a job search skills partnership with Michigan Works and with our Clarkston High School oral communications class. We are piloting a job search skills curriculum, which includes completing an application, writing a resume, and interviewing skills, which will include mock interviews as well. Also, another future collaboration with Michigan Works is we are planning a job fair in the spring where we can offer part-time seasonal work for our driving age but younger students, kind of like sophomore to junior. And for our graduating seniors, we hope to offer full-time employment opportunities upon graduation. So all employers invited to that event will have current available job openings that our students can interview for on the spot. Also, Clarkston High School is working with Ms. McGinnis and Oakland University to explore health sciences partnership potential in the future.
So I am Stacey Youngerman, Guidance Counselor at Renaissance, and I'm not going to reiterate everything that Sheila said, just going to touch on where we do things a little bit differently at Renaissance. So our community forum time, which is 30 minutes every day, which is connected to our kids' third-hour class, we have each day of the week designated to a certain area. So for example, Mondays are Wellness Mondays, Tuesday are grade checks, Wednesday is restorative practice, Thursdays are all about careers, and then Friday is for our leadership class. So every Thursday our kids are doing a different type of activity. So this is also where we do our EDPs. Some of their career-related activities that they've done so far are scavenger hunts to find out whose job was listed on a piece of paper, so who had that job first. We have done career-related surveys, career-related searches, scavenger hunts. We use the Pathful videos connected to what type of industry and demand the community forum class votes on. So you can see here our career-related board. This gets changed once a month to highlight some of our former students, as well as some of our current students who already have jobs. We have the middle section, which is for colleges and universities and trade schools. The careers and the trades are on the left side. So like I said, we change it each week to show specific students that other students might be familiar with in the hallways and in the community. Our current Zello completion rate is at 99%. Some of the field trips that we have gone on are the Michigan Career Quest, Manufacturing Day, OSTC field trips, the STEMI truck, Oakland Community College, and the Clarkston Family Farm. So some of the photos that we have here are two of our students in each picture, highlighting their favorite activity at the Michigan Career Quest. These are Oakland Community College, the two on the side, and then the orange one is for Manufacturing Day. The Oakland Community College field trip is one of our favorite ones because all of our graduating seniors attend this field trip with me. We go on, it's a 2-hour event, so we go take a tour of the whole campus, and then they do college applications right then and there, so they get their acceptance letters right there. So in this one day, they get to tour and apply and be accepted, which is a big deal for our students because a lot of times if we don't take them here, they don't actually apply to college. So Sheila spoke about the no degree required event, and I would like to point out two of our success stories. For the FANUC one, at this event, one of our seniors was offered a robotics technician apprenticeship program. So he'll be starting this once he graduates. They are the leader in robotics and was voted as a top workplace year after year. They are offering him a 2-year apprenticeship program, so they will be combining his hands-on coursework as well as paying for his tuition at OCC. So after that, they said that as long as everything works out well, they're going to offer him a job. Michigan Works, we are actually having a meeting tomorrow with Michigan Works representatives and a few of our students to learn and offer them a job at our school. We've done it in the past before COVID. They work in the custodial program after school hours between our school and sometimes Clarkston Elementary because they just share and walk across the street. So they get a few hours each day, and then they can also work in the summer to help out the custodial staff. In order to be employed, they do have to take placement tests. They also have to open their own bank account, and they have to be, an attendance is good, and their grades have to be good. So we really encourage this program. I think that's me. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Allison Kumper. I'm a counselor over at the junior high. I don't like speaking into microphones, so if you can't hear me, just let me know. I put a picture of the counseling department over at the junior high up on the slide because I act as the lead for career readiness activities at the junior high, but it really is a combined effort between myself and our counseling program with Sarah Hester, Anna Wilson, and Erica Ebel, and then we always have Frida in the office, so I wanted to include her as well. So this is just an overview of the activities that we've done this year so far, and as Stacy was speaking, I forgot the STEMI truck that comes and visits from Oakland School, so all of our 8th grade students go and get to experience different STEM activities out on the truck that is parked in our parking lot for a whole week. It's pretty cool, and I can't believe I forgot it. Anyway, so Zello EDPs, so Sheila explained what EDPs are. Right now we have 96% completion school-wide, and this still includes the students that have either left the school or the district. So we're probably a little bit closer to 100% completion. Again, Wolf Time was completed in November. Wolf Time in November is when EDPs were completed. Can you tell I'm nervous? Teachers assisted with the student completion of this, and then students that were absent or if they didn't finish their EDP, and those a lot of times were called down during the school day to give them another opportunity to complete their EDP. We have to use Pathful Connect videos because the Oakland Schools requirement is for middle school, and so we've got a little bit of both, 8th grade and 9th grade. So we watched in our Wolf Times a video for all of the students for a flight nurse, which a lot of the kids found really interesting. Mrs. Dennis's ELA 8 students watched a video about a news journalist. Mr. X's Math 8 students got to hear from a video game designer, and then Mrs. Martin's Spanish students learned about the power of being bilingual. And student feedback was mostly positive. Some of the videos can get a little long, but for the most part, our students really enjoyed watching them and hearing from people in those industries and not just their teachers or their counselors telling them about careers. So Anna Wilson took the lead on the OSTC presentation coming to the junior high and then organizing the field trip as well. Ann George is the counselor over at OSTC Northwest on Big Lake Road. She came and presented to all of our 9th grade students, and then they were offered the opportunity to fill out a permission slip if they wanted to go in person to OSTC. We had 35 students that attended. Typically, schools will have an opt-out form, and so they send all of their 9th graders to OSTC. We didn't do that, and we actually received really great feedback from OSTC about our students and how engaged that they were. They reached out to Mr. Bennick, and they were really impressed with the students and the questions that they were asking. We had Amanda McKay from the ACE program. This is where she came in, spoke to students, and gave information. Students can earn an associate's degree through Oakland Community College while they're still in high school. So we had some students that were interested in pursuing this so that they can get ahead on credits for college without having to pay for them, as we all know that it's very expensive. So a lot of students that were interested took information and had meetings with Amanda as well. And we plan to continue that because it makes a little more sense for her to come and talk to our 9th graders so that they can take the right classes to be eligible for this program going into 11th and 12th grade. The no degree required field trip. So our 8th and 9th grade students at the junior high were invited. We had 32 junior high students in addition to 8 of the Clarkston High School construction tech students that were in class at the junior high at that time. Almost all the feedback was positive. The only thing that the kids didn't like was that we walked and it started snowing. So they were a little upset about that part of it. But other than the weather, they really enjoyed the opportunity to go. The CTE Roadshow from the high school came over to the junior high before scheduling started. These are the different CTE programs that are offered at the high school. It gives them an opportunity to kind of promote their program to the current 8th and 9th grade students so that they can learn more about them before we schedule, do our scheduling presentations and they pick their classes for the next year. And then on Friday this week is our career day, and we've got 51 speakers scheduled right now. We have a wide variety of industries represented. I emailed all of our current parents and asked for volunteers that wanted to come in and speak. We've got quite a few parents and some alumni coming in. Each speaker has been assigned to a teacher, and they just stay and they speak to those students regardless of their career interests. That's kind of how things have always been at the junior high, but looking to the future, I'd like to kind of tailor it to more what the students are interested in based on their Zello EDP results. So taking a look at that data and deciding, which speakers to invite and then to assign students to that classroom. We also just started a college awareness kind of campaign, I guess. We sent out a staff survey and asked what colleges, universities, or trade schools that staff had graduated from. We printed their logos, had them laminated, and they should be up in classrooms or outside of classrooms hopefully by Wednesday. Since everything else is done, I just need people to put up their college logos. And then hopefully this will engage students with additional conversations about things to do after high school, whether it involves college or university or if they went to a trade school, just to start conversations. A lot of our staff has had kind of interesting experiences after high school, so just to be able to start that conversation and share different pathways that students can take. And then looking forward to future plans for career readiness, like I said, using the EDP data for student interest and speakers for career day and assigning them. And then we want to reach out to our community a little bit more and get people that are interested in coming in at lunchtime to talk with our students and just to have a 20-minute conversation. They don't have to do a presentation, but just to talk to our kids about the things that they're doing or different careers that they could look into based on training that they're interested in or interests so community members, parents, alumni. As an alumni myself, I think it would be really cool to have some of my former classmates come in and talk. The kids don't think it's that cool, but they might if it's someone else and not their school counselor. And then again, just increased awareness of our staff education and experiences. We've all had some varied experiences before working in education and even while working in education. So I think capitalizing on that and using the people that we have already at our, I don't even know, right in front of us that we can talk to and have them talk with our kids to share experiences.
Hello, I'm Nicole Todoran. This is Paige Tulpa. We are the career coordinators at the middle school. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about the career readiness activities that have taken place this year at the middle school. So when we talk about career readiness at the middle school level, we're really talking about creating awareness to the students and exposure of different careers that are out there and letting them explore, because a lot of them don't know that so many different careers even exist. So that's what our Zello is geared towards. Students start their EDPs in 6th grade, so this is really like the conception of when they first get to experience creating an EDP. So it's pretty simple at the middle school level. They take a couple of different interest inventories. They do a personality quiz, a learning style quiz, and so it really narrows down for the students what jobs match their interests, what jobs might match their learning style and their personality style. And it's really fun to see the students explore through these different careers. They can drill down into these careers and look at things like the job outlook, salary, what education is required, that type of thing. So I think it's really eye-opening for the students to get to be exposed to this at the 6th grade level. And we are happy to say that 100% of our students have completed their Zello this year. We were at about 96%, and then Paige and I went into the classrooms to help the students that were still out there finish up. So it took place in our pause classes. We have pause every day for 20 minutes, and the students did that in pause, and it took about a week, and I think the students were really excited about it. So we thought it might be fun to show you what a Zello profile looks like at its conception. So I don't know if you can read this, but this is one of our students who's, as you can see, he's very math-minded, he's very science-minded. So all the careers that were suggested for him are, in the engineering field, the health field, things that matched his interests. And so when he was given time to explore those careers and drill down into them, it also shows related careers. So we encourage the students to save at least one career to their EDP at the 6th grade level. So you can see that he then saved an aerospace engineer and a radiologist. And, he may not have even known what those things were before he did his EDP. So one really cool thing that we got to see it sort of come full circle is we actually had an aerospace engineer at our career day, which I don't want to jump on your slides, but it was cool because he got to go to see the aerospace engineer speak and learn more about it and ask questions. So that was really good. Another thing that we do is the Pathful Connect videos. We have had Pathful Connect videos shown in classes. We have a career awareness class at the middle school, so a lot of these videos were shown in the career awareness class. We showed some of them on career day. So it's really, again, just about exposing students to different careers that they may not have known existed. So one thing that's really cool about the Pathful Connect videos is that you can set them up ahead of time to have a live speaker, and the students can sit in class on their Chromebooks and Zoom with a live speaker from an industry or a career that they may be interested in, ask questions and get real-time feedback. So that's one of the great features of that program too.
So going off what Nicole said about our guest career speakers in that career class that we have, that is an elective that we provide. It's 1 quarter and it lasts all 4 quarters. It's run by our awesome Kelly Mertz. So we've had all these speakers up on the screen, our speakers that we've had in that class just this year. So we still have another quarter to go, so I'm sure we'll add on some there. But it's a huge array. Like we've had sheet metal workers, HR CEO for GM, engineers, teachers, supply chain. This is a great way for our students to kind of peek into what a day in a life looks like for all these different career pathways. And then kind of wrapping up, we had Career Day last Wednesday, which was a huge success. We were super excited about it. It was last Wednesday, March 6th. We had 21 live presenters. It was only for our 7th grade students, so 6th graders will do it next year. And we used that data from Zello, as Nicole was showing you, to match up students based on what their pathway and their interests showed. So they got to see 4 speakers in the morning, which were all 35 minutes long, to match up kind of what their interests were, which was super awesome. We had great feedback for that. And then in the afternoon sessions, the students went back to their classroom. They wrote handwritten thank you notes for all 4 presenters that they saw that day, and they're getting mailed out to the presenters. They also viewed additional Pathful videos that were just showed on the other screen that were showing industries that weren't covered in the morning. So if it was really something someone was interested in and we didn't have a presenter to show it, they maybe got to see it in the afternoon. So it was a huge success. It was awesome. We loved every bit of Career Day. And that wraps us up, so if anyone has any questions.
Actually, last comment. Nice job, ladies. As you can see, this is a very successful career readiness team at every secondary building, and they truly put a great deal of effort into exposing our students to career readiness options and planning. Do you have any questions for the team?
Any questions? Well, I have one that's on everybody's mind. Dr. Ryan, what was your first job?
Wash dishes at a Chinese restaurant. Which obviously prepared me for about 90% of what you need to be as a superintendent.
Thank you.
Yeah, the crew is doing a really great job. And I think sometimes we get lost in looking at strategic planning and the big pieces when really what the students are getting an experience when I hear around the dinner table from my daughters is, they're getting a lot of stuff now that really kind of gives them different opportunities. And hopefully our board is able to see, if nothing else, that there's a huge breadth of different things that we throw at our kids in different formats and different ways, hopefully to find something that makes a connection so that as we can get towards that graduation that Trustee Egan said long ago is if they're not ready for college, what are they ready for? And that we have the responsibility to make sure that our kids, when they cross that stage, they might change their mind 10, 20, 30 times, but they have something that they're working towards, something that they have a kind of a dream they're pursuing. And the team here you saw and heard from tonight has done an amazing job at trying to bring that to life at each of our buildings for the kids. It's very, very, very much student-centered. So I want to thank you guys for coming out this evening and giving our board a really good taste of what we're about in Clarkston when it comes to careers.
Again, thank you very much. It was very impressive seeing that broad range of careers that our kids are being exposed to. Where our mission is to prepare kids for a future that excites them, that may be a four-year college or it may be something else. So I think it's awesome that they're being exposed to that at an early stage. So again, with Dr. Ryan, thank you very much for all your efforts.
Mr. Need?
Yes.
I'd like to
Ms.
just
McGinnis?
make a quick comment. I would like to say that our first job is just a stepping stone job, okay? So it may take us 5, 6 jobs to get to the job of our dreams, or we might think we have the job of our dreams and find out at a significantly older in life that the job of your dreams wasn't the job of your dreams. So one thing I really like about the presentation that was given is not just each individual piece, but the collaboration that I can see that's happening from each level all the way up to the high school. I also just love bringing our students at Renaissance High School over to Oakland Community College because in my experience at Oakland University, there are a tremendous amount of students who would never step foot in the university or the community college because they never would see themselves in it, because probably they may not have somebody in their own family that was ever in there. So to ask them to just take it upon themselves to go there is something that they probably would never do on their own. So I really applaud you for making that move to bring them to Oakland Community College, but I'd also say raise the bar. Don't hesitate to contact me to see if we can get students to come on over to Oakland University, because there's plenty of things that I would like to show you and the entire team when you have time.
Thank you, Ms. McGinnis. Thanks again. Item 5.3, our final presentation item, is an elementary open enrollment update. Mr. Lucido.
Good evening. Tonight on the action items, we have approval of all of our school of choice programs, but we wanted to facilitate some discussion around potentially changing the way we've been doing our elementary open enrollment. Currently, we've been running this program since 1920, and there's currently 153 students that are enrolled in Clarkston schools that were accepted through this program. So each year, we've asked for 25 spots as part of our approval process, and then we've always gotten more applications than that. And, as part of the requirements, we're allowed to come back and accept those positions if they're approved. So that's what we have done each of these years. But we've been evaluating this and trying to improve our process, so we have some different options of potentially increasing this. So like last year, we took 25 spots, and then we came back to the board because we had a total of 63 applicants. We ended up getting 55 of those. So we've been above 25 since we've had this program in place. I think we've asked for them each year, including 1920. So I just want to go over like some of what these options are. Option one is to continue with what we currently are doing, and that's accepting 25 spots between young fives and kindergarten. Option two would be to increase it up to 75, but go through second grade. And then option three would be to increase the number to 75, but do through young fives through fifth grade. And I just want to point out a couple things of why we do this. There's a number of reasons that this is helpful to us. One of the biggest ones, and the reason that we do this, is to make sure that we're able to sustain our programming into the secondary. So CSM Tech or IB program, band, all the different programming that we've been able to offer. With us decreasing in students, we need students to fill these seats, and we're kind of seeing that with all the work we've been doing to increase the numbers with CSM Tech. So this is something that will help us long term with doing that, and that is one of the biggest reasons we have done this. The other reason is to make sure that some of our smaller elementaries don't get down to having one class per grade level as they go through. And then the third is there is a financial impact to this, because every student that's enrolled here, even though they're not a Clarkston student, we get the full FTE from the state. So with these three options, we've had a lot of dialogue internally about this. There is a lot of value to having these students come over at a younger age because they get to be part of our system and move through, and we get to mold them and they become a Clarkston student for a longer period of time. If we go to young fives through fifth grade, what that gives us the ability to do, and we have historically, when in this position, this program is the only one of our open school of choice programs that is a limited number. So when you have a limited number of spots available for an open enrollment program, you set a 30-day window to accept applicants. Once that window closes, you have a 2-week time period to accept those applicants and let them know that they are accepted. We have been doing that in August because with young fives in kindergarten taking 25, we want to make sure that we're filling spots and not adding additional sections. Because when you start adding additional sections, you lose one of the big reasons we do this too is the financial impact. Because every time we add a teacher, we're looking at 100, and then when you're talking young fives in kindergarten, there's either a full-time aide for young fives or a part-time aide for kindergarten. So it really dilutes the benefit when you have to add sections. If we do young fives through fifth grade, or even the young fives through second grade, we would have some of those sections where there's not a small enough number where we'd be able to collapse, but this would give us the reason. So if we're running a fifth grade at 21 kids, which is very, very small, we might be able to select 4 or 5 extra spots just for that grade. So the value of doing something like that is we can look at our entire matrix of the elementary and say, oh, fifth grade Clarkston L is low. I'm making these up, by the way. Pine Knob second grade is lower than we would want. And we could add our 75 spots wherever we thought would benefit Clarkston Community Schools the most to really have even class sizes. So those are some of the reasoning and behind some of these different options. Is there any questions or other information I can provide?
Yeah, what's included in the application? Like, can we see their grades from the previous year?
Yes. If they're with young fives in kindergarten, there isn't anything.
Right,
But if we went up to fifth grade, we could see if those students had a disciplinary record, and if they do, we can choose not to accept them. So if they've been a problem student at a different location, we could deny them based off discipline. So there is a value in that.
And would you be open to making some sort of stipulation that like the majority is still the young fives kindergarten, but you can have the freedom to fill when needed? Like, just because I like the younger as a theory, but I mean I understand that there would be a benefit to like filling a really small class here and there.
We certainly could do that.
Mrs. McGinnis?
So I have a couple questions. One, do we know what our the rate that we lose open enrollment by to the next year? Have we ever tracked FY '23's open enrollment to '24 to see how many of those have not returned?
We haven't done that study,
So
but I have
I'm just
all of that.
curious what our recidiration rate is of those and if it repeats itself. So if I'm understanding this correctly, unlike our current policy, which is entry at young 5 or kindergarten, we're going to allow either an option 2 entry up to second grade, first time enroll at a second grade level, and an option 3 anywhere between first grade and 5th grade entry level.
Young 5s all the way up to 5th.
Correct.
Yeah,
Well,
yes.
young 5s in kindergarten, we already do.
Right.
But what I'm trying to say is first grade to 5th grade, we're going to say we will take you as a brand new open enrollment in any one of those grades, which we have never done in the past.
Correct.
Okay. So the thing that, to Amanda's point, what I think might happen is that we may have a parent who thought their child was doing well where they are, but open enrolled their young 5 or kindergarten and left another one behind, where now they may have an opportunity to bring them in the system that they didn't have before because they didn't come at young 5 or kindergarten.
That is correct and an excellent point. I forgot to mention this. So when you have a program like this, if we go young 5s through 5th grade, any siblings in those grade levels, they would be allowed to come first.
Okay.
And I don't know how many students that would be out of our 75. It could be 50%, it could be 20, but any siblings would be able to come, and then the rest of the spots we would be able to decide. Now we can make them not go to the same building, but that's not something we would probably support. So we'd have to be open to taking any siblings to whatever grade level and to the current school.
So that would affect your analogy of if we had space at building A and only 2 slots in 3rd grade, but this family comes in and has whatever they have and puts you over at that grade level, you're willing to work within that, because I can see that being a problem between how do you decide if at a building level you're at capacity and all you have is this 1 or 2 children to place. So it would seem to me that even though I understand the reasoning of why and what you're looking for, and that is to put capacity in each of our buildings, at some point in time you might have to make a decision that puts you one child over where you might reasonably want to be in any building, if they're the sibling of another student.
That could happen. It is possible.
Okay.
Right now, our class sizes, I mean, we've been very fortunate. I mean, our class sizes are very good in the elementary, where I do think we could take 1 in each section currently.
I wonder what your thought is on when we say open enrollment's 25 and we get 53. That's kind of like, I hope I'm the first 25, okay? But they don't know that they're 26 to 53 when they're doing so. I'm just curious, if we make it 75, it leaves them to wonder, I got plenty of time to get in, and it might actually reduce our draw of how many people apply. I'm just curious. I don't know the answer. I just wonder if that might affect it.
It might. So historically, what we've been doing is doing this in August and letting these parents know like a few weeks before school starts, because what happens, we never know, and there's really no way to predict. Like sometimes 10 kindergartners show up in 3 days before school starts for Pine Op, and then we're adding a teacher on September 1st, which is not ideal. But those are the kind of things that happen. So what we would do with this program, just like, because we've been doing this for a number of years, and how can we use this the most effectively to our benefit to operate the district? And one of our principals had this idea, is do this in May, especially if we're going to spread it across grade levels. I'm not going to end up adding too many at the 5th grade level at Clarkston, to go back to that example, to cause us to have to add one before school starts, because that's not where the push comes in. So what we would do is probably set that window like the middle of May to like maybe like right after school gets out. So I have time with the principals to be very thoughtful about where we're creating these placements. And then all these parents know before July 1st that their son is going to be the new second grader at Independence Elementary. And I think that would give us a lot of time to prep, get these students. We might even be able to do an orientation for new students to Clarkston. I mean, these are some of the ideas that we had to kind of improve this program.
I personally I like all these options, and I will go with whatever the consensus of the board is. I've been on the board long enough to have experience when we wouldn't allow this and our thought process about what that meant. And then allowing it and finding that the thought process that we had that prevented us from doing it never came into play. So I personally like the opportunity. I also did like the opportunity of us getting them as young as possible to hopefully keep them in the system. I still would like to know how many leave us every year, because I think that there is a big burden on a family. I have my own family who's driving a child in. It's a burden, and so I'm just curious. Even though we open the door and say 75, and that while they might start the school at 75 maximum, by the end of that school year, are we really still at 75 coming into the next school year?
Do we have the opportunity to track that, Ms.
Sure,
Macedo?
absolutely. We can get
retrospectively. Oh.
Yes.
I have a question.
Ms. Egan?
Mr. Lucido, can you explain how we would be approaching like building assignments? So I'm just thinking, would you really open up all 7 elementary buildings, or would you just maybe pick 2 or 3 and then people know ahead of time? Maybe you're going to be either at Springfield Plains, or you're going to, I'm making this up, but you might pick 2 geographic kind of locations in our district, because it just seems like that's a lot of capacity to try to manage.
It's actually would be helpful to us. So, no, I would do all 7 elementaries. I would get together. We have like a grid, and we study this. So like once a week, we run a report when it's all the students rolled up to what grade, so what our grades look like right now. So I know where we're really low. So I would open it up to all 7, but to your point, we could push. It would be nice to do the staffing and the placements with as much flexibility as possible, with the understanding that the board would like to see as much in the early grades. But I would look at all 7 elementaries with our principals, and we would pick, maybe Bailey Lake is completely full except for 4th grade. Maybe 4th grade only has 19 kids in it, which isn't enough to run 2 sections. But we don't want to. It would be much better if we added 12 kids to that location. So I think it would totally matter about where our class sizes are smaller. And what we've done with young fives in kindergarten is we've asked parents for a first, second, and third choice. So, and then we have that, and we try and give them all their first choice if it works. But if not, we do second or third. So I would probably get something from the parents with that information. The problem is with like the young fives in kindergarten, we're doing all this, and like sometimes I add a few open enrollment kids, and then we get a push that we weren't expecting, and it's not always Pine Arbor. It might be Independence where, and then we end up adding a section and adding a teacher to accommodate when we're trying to save money and be efficient, and now we got a whole nother section for $150,000, and our class sizes are still lower than we want. So this would just give us a lot of flexibility to run as efficiently as possible.
Well, I'm just wondering out loud here if it makes more sense to add 2 grades as opposed to you know what I'm saying? It seems like managing that capacity is for 75. I don't know.
It would actually.
I mean, it's not. I'm not doing it. Clearly,
right,
you are.
It would be easier for us. It would be much easier for us because we have more to work with. If you do young fives through 2nd grade and we take 75, I might be pushing some of those numbers artificially higher, and then we can look at the whole elementary division and kind of have some stable numbers. If it's 75 pushing in through young fives through kindergarten, I don't know what the young fives in kindergarten is going to look like till the day of school starts, and sometimes one week in. And then we might be artificially higher in those grade levels. I mean, this would just give us a lot of flexibility. Everybody wants the students and sees a value, board and elementary administrators, to most of the students be coming in as soon as possible so they can become part of our culture
Right.
and move. But just having the flexibility, but knowing what the desire is would be a benefit to us.
Ms. Sivers?
I just have off of that, in your conversations, do the principals and school staff have any opinion on what they would like to see?
The principals, they want this, it's exactly the same dialogue we're having here. They would like the students earlier, but they also see a big value in us having the flexibility.
They
So
want
they're
lower
not
class
lean-
sizes.
Sorry?
They want lower class sizes, and they want us to be able to offer, the flexibility piece, working with Mr. Lucido. I mean, the story behind this, we get into August, and we end up with those, and just for just kind of like the history part of it is, we really struggle when we get a second grade class that has like close to 30 kids in it. Now, economically, depending on how we divide it, we can't really function as a school district fiduciarily having a section of 13 kids. And what this affords Mr. Lucido and the team is we can add a couple students, divide the section into something we can support, and at the same time start to hedge against the loss of students in programming as they get towards the high school, so we can maintain all the programs that we want to have. Looking at CSM Tech and every push, this will affect CSM Tech. Being able to have the students to be able to be in these programs. And I think it was a much different game when we had 8,200 students, than 6,500 students. It just becomes a lot more competitive. And to this community's credit, they want what they want when it comes to programming. They want what they want when it comes to low class size. And I think as an administration, we're just trying to show flexibility to the community and how we can provide these type of services.
The one thing I like about option 3 the most is that I don't want a family who has a young 5 or kindergartner to say, I can't do it because I have a 4th grader. And so I don't want to limit the flexibility, but I also don't want to I don't want to increase a potential of a family breaking their family up between 2 school districts and potentially 2 buildings because we limited ourselves to option 1 or option 2.
Mr. Heyer?
I am in favor of continuing our current practice. The more I think about this and the more I look at the numbers, the more I think it's a terrible idea. And I think I completely recognize the stability that you reference. And in my experience and my broad view of other districts who have done this, I would say we'd introduce volatility and not stability. And that makes me extremely nervous because you can roll up kids that live here because we know they either move out or they're coming to school. And when you get kids that, I think I'm going to choice in, they may or may not be here the next year because they have an incumbent school district somewhere that may be where they're going next year. And so I think trying to come up with stability and staffing in May, I don't think that's going to bear out. I like what we're doing where we say it's 25 and we open it to some additional spots, and I think that's rolled up now. We've done it for 5 years. We have 153 students. That's about 5% of our elementary that's open enrollment. We have just under 3,000 kids in elementary. If we talk about doing 75, we roll it for 5 years, that's 375. We get into that 13% range, 15% range, that makes me nervous where that gets into volatility range given the conversations I've had with other school districts and looked at what some other folks have done that have done elementary choice. And when you start to get, I think, north of 10%, I think you introduce some volatility and you have some challenges. I don't believe our community wants to be an open enrollment district. I think this is one of those things where we said, hey, we're going to do it kindergarten because, we can bring kids in right from the start, get them the supports that they need, make sure they're going to be successful. I would be in favor of continuing to do that. I think there's a reason why it's impossible to buy a house anywhere right now, but it's even more so impossible in Clarkston. There's a reason for that, and I think it's a very positive economic reason for our community, and I'd really want to stay true to that. And so just from my perspective, given the percentages of where we are, the gain, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. I don't think the risk of saying, hey, we want to open this to a wider range to let people come and go, I think would be foolish on our part. And I don't think we should go down that road. Right now, it's one and done. If you leave, you can't come back. And I think that has led to some stability in our practice. If it's K-5, you can come and go every year if you want. And I think that is a mistake. I think that'll hurt us in our staffing. And I don't know that I want to take attention away from our primary goal of taking care of our kids to try to balance out class size a little bit. If we have to spend a few extra bucks to even class sizes out, which is what we do now, I think we continue to build our special revenue streams and cover that. I don't think this is the difference between the 50 to 60 versus 75 and a wider grade range financially is worth it, because it's only a few bucks difference there. And I don't think the nicely filling all the grade levels will come to actual fruition. I don't think you're being disingenuous at all. I'm not questioning your skill set, because I know you are incredibly on top of the staffing and the enrollment. And I just think with the influx and outflow that's coming in there, it's not something we'll be able to control.
Further comment? Mrs. Egan?
Well, I was just going to ask, how many applicants do we normally get?
Last year we had 63. I think there was 40 some the year before. I think one of the prior years we took 35.
So do you think we would get more if we took the upper edge up a little bit to second grade?
Sure, I do.
Mr. Need, I have one more question.
Sure.
Under the current option 1 arrangement, if we have a parent who comes in and has a young 5 or kindergartner but had no clue about this and has a second grader, what can we legally do? Not accept them? Is that the only answer?
Currently now?
Yeah.
Yes, we do not take them. That happens. We do have families that are broken.
So
right now.
we have, so likely is that the family then chooses not to come at all, even though their entry point was a young 5 or kindergartner. Is there a possibility that we can restrict the percentage of kids from grade 1 to 5 as a percentage of the whole? To
Sure.
to
That's kinda what
Steve's
I was
point,
saying.
Yes.
reduce that volatility. And that's why I want to know how many do we really retain for the next year? Because I think that will give us an understanding of what the volatility could look like.
But now I think we have some stability to it, because you can't come and go. The minute you can come and go, I think that changes the numbers. So I don't think we could look at the rate that we keep kids now and project that to a K-5.
Right, and I would agree that it probably would be higher. But I'd like to know, is it 10? Is it 15%? What percentage is it now? I mean, it could even be lower. It could be completely the opposite. It could be everybody comes back. I'd like to know that, because I think it just gives us a barometer of what that volatility could look like.
I can certainly look that up. We know how many students are in the program. We know how many we've accepted. I will tell you, this isn't a concern of administration of us losing these students. It's not. I mean, I can't tell you the actual percentage. I mean, I can get that data, but this isn't a concern that we have, that we're losing these students that we're accepting. I don't think this is a very high number. It's not something that we've seen a correlation with our drops of school choice students.
Do we
and
know?
that may be to Steve's point, because they know they can't get back in.
I do understand that concern. It's not something that we have, but I definitely understand that point.
So do we know how many older siblings that might be below 5th grade would? Do we know those families? Do we know that data?
I don't, and that isn't data that I would have. I mean, I could talk to the principals. They might know the families personally, but for me to get you accurate data on that, I won't be able to.
And can we or can we not limit to just siblings of current school of choice students for, say, 2nd through 5th grade? I'm just throwing that out. But
I don't know if you can do that.
Okay.
I would have to I've never seen an enrollment program that says open to siblings.
Yeah.
I can research that and see if there's something that we could
yeah,
do.
I just wonder, how do you manage when you start getting into like 4th and 5th grade? Like if you have families and you know the families, but we've split them, would we be able to bring them in, but without really making those upper L grades totally open?
We could do, one option is you could do young 5s through 5th grade, and we could take all of the siblings, and then after that, it is up to us to identify where these openings are. So then we could do that. That's why it's just like this full flexibility. So that is another option. Does that make sense what I said? So I'm saying if you do young 5s through 5th grade, you could take all the siblings up to 5th grade, and then your new spots for outside students, you could say we have 10 for young 5s, 10 for kindergarten, 10 for 1st grade, and be done with what was left. I mean, that is an option. I don't know that. I'm not recommending that. I'm just saying that that is a way to allow the siblings to come in. I do not know how many siblings of families would want to come in here that are 1st grade through 5th grade. I don't know that number, but they are out there.
Yeah.
Could we also make it our internal policy, anybody grades 1 through 5 that comes in, that should they leave, they're not coming back again? No different than current open enrollment. If you leave, you're not coming back.
So if we do young 5s to 5th grade, and this is an annual thing, so we don't have to do this this is an annual decision the board makes. So we could do young 5s through 5th grade and then not do it next year, but there's no way to stop someone from applying. And the only way to not have them come in if they apply and you have a spot open in that particular grade level in school is if they have discipline.
And that's prevented currently because we're only going up to young 5 or kindergarten.
Yeah, they have no
Correct. There's no discipline record. So
Got it.
now we would know, if the student was expelled in 4th grade for pulling the fire alarm too many times, we can not let him in or something,
And does the home district still have to release?
No, not if they're accepted here through a school of choice program.
Okay.
Yeah, this would put us, look, we're still on the conservative side of all our surrounding school districts based
Very
on
much so.
policies. They're pretty much unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking like Orion, Waterford, Oxford, Brandon.
Yes.
As far as that. And I think we're on a year-to-year basis, and that's not really what we're supporting. We're looking at long-term stability within our own enrollment. And I think you could imagine my administrative team knows how I feel about this, that when we get a certain level of stability, which will occur, based on the birth rates and how the county's going, it'll be, kind of siphoned down and eliminated as an option. Because we also don't want to unmitigate, we don't want giant growth either. That's, we look at our facilities and our planning with the junior high and everything else that we've done, we want to keep control of it. We feel like by having a specific number and having the board an opportunity to weigh in it from year to year, that's about the most, I don't want to say responsible, but, the even keel thing that we could offer you. But we also don't want to be at odds with you, so, we tried to formulate and work with the board leadership team a couple different options that you could explore. I think it's obviously administration's feeling option 3, most flexibility for the time being, and also the benefits that were outlined by Mr. Lucido. But respectfully, we'll take direction on collectively how you all feel about it, and then we'll move forward regardless and be successful. So,
Can we get an overview in the weekend review of surrounding districts' open policy?
Yes.
School of choice policy?
Yes.
If I was the one unilaterally making the decision, and I'm not, I would continue with option 1 and increase the number closer to 50 or maybe 75 at that point. That would be my personal preference. And I'm absolutely willing to work with the board to consensus on an option.
I think the process tonight is, one of the action items is simply to approve the 25 that we have done historically, along with the other limited open enrollment programs. Then we will do some additional investigation from the administration standpoint. Board members certainly get whatever additional comments you might have to me or Dr. Ryan, and then we will, if any action is taken, it would then be at the April meeting, once we've had a chance to, get feedback from the community, get additional feedback from board members as well. So, anything else for this evening? All right. Thank you, Mr. Lucido.
we appreciate the feedback.
Moving to our action items, item 6.1, approval of personnel changes. May I have a motion, please?
I move the Board of Education approves the personnel changes as listed on the attached sheets.
Support.
Motion's made and supported. Any discussion? Questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item 6.2 is the approval of the open enrollment resolutions. We can have one motion. This would include CSM Tech, IB, Career Immersion Pathways, Construction Technology, Online Hybrid Learning, and limited open enrollment in Young Fives and Kindergarten, limited to the historical 25. So we can have a single motion. May I have a motion, please?
I move the Board of Education adopts the resolutions approving unlimited open enrollment in the CSM Tech Academy, IB Diploma Program, Career Immersion Pathway Program, Construction Tech Program, and online hybrid learning programs and limited open enrollment in the Young Fives and Kindergarten programs as presented as attached.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Any discussion? Questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mr. Need, I think we need a roll call on that one.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that is a roll call. Mrs. McLean. Thank you, Mr. Heyer. Mrs. McLean, can you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mrs. Egan.
Yes.
Mrs. McGinnis.
Yes.
Mrs. Love.
Yes.
Mrs. Sivers. Yes. Mrs. Crane. Mr. Heyer.
Yes.
Mr. Need.
Yes. Now the motion is carried. Thank you. Item 6.3, approval of the elementary gym AV projects. May I have a motion, please?
I move the Board of Education approves the contract with Digital Age Technologies of Davison, Michigan for specified elementary gym technology renovations in the amount of $241,000 as presented.
Support.
Motion's made and supported. Is there discussion?
Yeah, I was.
Mrs. Love?
I'm wondering, especially with all this talk about open enrollment, because we don't have the bodies inside of our schools, why is it a need to turn our gymnasiums into classrooms?
Okay, I can kind of field that one, and I'll have Ms. Mahoney, she can also add in too, is that we always had an element of this as our gyms being kind of multi-purpose areas for our schools. They're kind of the hub when it comes to, could be, obviously PE classes, but also, school-wide meetings, presentations, music performances, having outside groups coming in to share or have an activity or guest speakers, any type of presentations. And they look at it at the elementary that when we had the original, I think the last upgrade, and I'll have Ms. Harrison confirm this or not, it was back in 2016 or before where we started the upgrade into those pieces. In meeting with all of the school staff in terms of their perception of how those work, is that, maybe the word would be disarray or antiquated or not working properly. So when we have our choir in for the night and, parents are there, or it's Veterans Day, I'm trying to think of all these different events that you go to in schools. It's not up to the specs and quality that we'd want in Clarkston that I think our community, our school community has expected. And I think it was kind of high tide that, we looked at amongst all the other projects that it was a priority to look for replacing it. So as far as a classroom, that's one part of it, looking at what PE teachers now, and crazy from when we were in school, or at least I was in school, PE integrates, word ball words and other type of things that might not even have been in. So there, there's obviously an education. I would not think that would be the lion's share of the rationale for doing this project.
Might I also add, Dr. Ryan, that the source of the funding is the 2022 bond. So this would have been outlined and received approval from the state in order for us to go to the public to seek this funding.
I think it's categorized under greater overall improvement projects within buildings. As far as, I don't know if it was immediately characterized, but it is within the allowable uses for the expense of that fund. And it is not precluding or taking the spot of anything else that we're doing. It easily covered within even the interest, and some of the investments based on the bond dollars that are right now. So
I would just add, I don't think it's as much turning the gyms into classrooms. I think your response, Dr. Ryan, on that was some of the classroom-like technologies. Obviously, the gym is a classroom right now, and it works just fine. I think the rest of what you said this evening about all the other events, I mean, we don't have performing arts centers in our elementary buildings. We do this cafetorium, kind of concept, and having lived through a number of elementary years now, this is definitely, whether it's the PTA school fair, some sort of fundraiser they're putting on, all of the events that you mentioned, in terms of Veterans Day and assemblies and graduations and all those things, it's sort of a simple, I think this is a basic technology improvement. I don't think there's anything, extravagant in here. It's a projection system and a sound system, and I think those are basic things that we need. So I look at this as kind of the bare minimum for, what we need in those spaces to make them functional. For our kids in school, for the academic purposes, and then also for our community.
I think to Mr. Heyer's point, these spaces are very multifunctional. I actually attended a Christmas ceremony at Independence, and I would say that I didn't think the sound system was very good, to be quite honest with you. So there was no ability to project the there were students of special need in the sing-along, and they did a very special portion that was projected up on the screen. So only the people who were facing this way, everybody was faced in a circle, so the piano was in the center, so nobody who was on that side could see because the screen was facing that way. So I don't know where this screen and where this AV would be projected, but I have been in those buildings and have, as of lately, and also know back in the days when my kids were here, these spaces were very multifunctional.
Thank you, Ms. McGinnis. Further comment? Questions? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 6.4 is approval of the field turf at the junior high. May I have a motion, please?
I move the Board of Education approves the field turf contract for Clarkston Junior High School to AstroTurf Great Lakes in the amount of $1,058,831 as presented.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Any comment or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item 6.5 is approval of the chiller at the new junior high. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves the pre-purchase of a chiller for Clarkston Junior High School to Thermalnetics in the amount of $464,320 as presented.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Any comments or questions?
How is this purchase in alignment with the end-of-year food service funding that we always have to spend? Is there any correlation between?
No, this is like a building air conditioner.
Oh, this is an air conditioning one. My apologies. Okay, thanks.
It's just really big, so they call it a chiller.
Yeah. Okay.
Indeed.
I got it.
It's a big chiller.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item 6.6 is approval of the first amended budget for the 2023-24 school year. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves the first amended budget for the 2023-24 as presented.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Mrs. Rogers, could you please hit on a couple of the key components for the revenue and expense adjustments?
This down to my level. Okay, so let me jump to the 220. I've outlined here the revenue adjustments. I think your biggest revenue adjustments you're going to see is in the state aid funding area, and the biggest thing is a lot of categoricals that we didn't know about back when we did June. They're all new, one time. A lot of those are one-time categoricals, so you'll see a lot of that. The MIPSR's offset funding, that's always a big thing after June, and you'll see the expenses will be similar. I have to spread that, a lot of that funding to expenses. And the mental health, security, and learning loss grants, these are all brand new grants this year that we've applied for and received since you approved the budget back in June. I think those are your biggest. Oh, and then the RVS has been, as you know, the virtual academy has been removed, and that wasn't removed until after that was removed in the fall, later summer, so we didn't know about that either. So those are your biggest adjustments with a total of 5.5 million revenue adjustment.
Dr. Ryan, could you give us a breakdown, probably in the weekend review, of all the categoricals we receive? I know we haven't looked at that in a while. It looks like we have some new ones, some one-time ones. I think it would be good for us to just keep abreast of what those are.
Yeah, I'll work with the schools, even Ms. Rogers, to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe it would even be more informative if we did it over a period of like last year, this year, and expected next year, or an unknown. Because they kind of keep us kind of end of the web for budgeting, which is not always great, but we're appreciative of the funds, obviously.
Absolutely.
Your expenditures adjustments, the virtual academy RVS, again, we removed that, so you removed the expenses too. You got your MIPSR's offset funding. Like I said, it would be a similar amount to what we added in revenue. The mental health, security, learning loss grants, that's pretty much in and out. Money. And so you've increased your expenditures to 3.2 million.
Okay. All right, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Any other
Let's
questions?
go to this. You'll see that, and a lot of this has to do with all that categorical funding and all the one-time funds we've been receiving. We've been able to balance the budget. When you approved the deficit, we've gotten a lot of new revenue funding we didn't know about in June. We've received a lot of it. So now you're at pretty much a balanced budget for the amended budget. So.
Any questions for Mrs. Rogers on the budget amendment? Any comment? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Those complete our action items. We have one report item. Item 7.1 is our monthly financial update. Mrs. Rogers.
I've got the financial update through February 29th, 2024. You have all the information for the months of January and February. Your budget to actual revenues at this point are just under 53%. As you can see, the local revenue is pretty much all in because that's our summer tax collection. And then your state and federal, we're starting to get that in. We're starting to really starting to receive our state and federal revenue now, so we're over 50% in most of those areas. Your budget to actual expenditures are at 55%, with your instructional at 55% and your operations at 62%. Your fund equity right now is at 20.75 million, but that will improve as we collect more of our state and federal because they're behind a few months on receiving those funds. And so we're ending right where we should be, I believe. And then when I bring you your March, you'll have the amended budget in it, so it'll change a little bit. And do you have any questions on any of the check registers or anything that I've given you for January and February?
Any questions on the financial report? Okay, thank you, Mrs. Rogers. There are no discussion items this evening. This is the second opportunity for citizen comment. Citizens are welcome to address the board on any topic at this point on the agenda. Anybody sign up, Ms. Mahoney? Okay, seeing no citizen comment. Information items, item 10.1, our next Board of Education meeting will be Monday, April 8th at 7 p.m., our regular meeting. Item 11 is closed session. We will be going into closed sessions in a moment after we have a motion and vote. We will come out of closed session only to adjourn. There will be no action taken following the closed session. With that, may I have a motion to go into closed session for the purposes of negotiations discussion?
I move that we go into closed session for purposes of contract negotiations.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Mrs. McLean, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mrs. Cybers? Yes. Mrs. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mrs. Love?
Yes.
Mr. Heyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Crane? Mrs. Egan?
Yes.
Mr. Neat?
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you, everybody. We will, Mr. Heyer, do you have a comment?
I thought we were going to move the April 8th meeting because of the NSBA thing.
I believe we did talk about that.
We don't have to deal with that right now.
Right. All right, thank you. We will look into that.